Good morning. Are we ready to go, Andrea?
Let's rock and roll on this Saturday morning, Angela.
All right, wonderful. Well, welcome everyone. We appreciate you taking the time on this Saturday morning. I'm Angela Christ. I'm the director of the Florida Institute of Government at USF, and we have our wonderful partners, St. Pete College Collaborative Labs and their executive director, Andrea Henning, and then their wonderful staff. So glad to see everybody today and look forward to a wonderful, meaningful discussion. So just really quickly, wanted to go through with you today what we're going to do, our agenda. So we're going to discuss a little bit about our progress to date. There is a draft vision and some of our core values, and then kind of the high level strategic themes. So we're just going to kind of share those with you. You guys will also be prioritizing goals for the 6 strategic themes. And so Andrea and her team will walk you through. There'll be 2 rounds. And so you'll see here, these are the 6 high-level key emerging strategic themes that have come from all of the data that we have collected. And then we'll just talk a little bit about next steps for success. So here's a draft vision. I just wanted to share this with you. Obviously, it is a draft. I want to make that really clear. It does need to be wordsmithed and really vetted through a lot of people, but I just thought I would share it with you. So, and I'm going to go ahead and read it. And it says, as one of the most historic small cities in Florida, Tarpon Springs seeks to provide a safe and secure quality of life by preserving the past, enjoying the present, and innovating for the future while sustaining its natural resources, green spaces, beaches, parks, and river. And so a lot of this information was taken from you, from the community, whether it came from the survey we did, from the forums, from the workshops, but we did hear a lot about the need to preserve the past, really enjoy what's going on, and then be innovative in future thinking. And so we just wanted to share this with you as we begin to go into the next steps of the process. Great. So one of the other things, if you have been attending the previous workshops, we did, again, through many vehicles and tools, we're able to collect data on kind of guiding principles and core values. And so again, these are draft statements. The first one is citizens first. And so this is the statement. So the core value, citizens first. We respect and recognize the rich culture, heritage, and natural resources of our community to preserve our sense of community and citizens first. Next is communication. We focus on listening to and supporting the needs of our community through open communication, citizen, and community engagement. Quality of life. We are committed to providing high levels of safety, security, and welfare to our citizens for a prosperous and enjoyable quality of life for all members of the community. Financial responsibility. We safeguard the public's resources and hold ourselves financially responsible for efficiency, effectiveness, and future planning. And lastly, visionary leadership. We are dedicated to making strategic decisions, overcoming obstacles, and moving forward in a direction that follows our community vision. And I just wanted to make a comment very briefly. For those of you that have been on and for those of you that haven't, remember these, when they are finalized, this is what everyone is agreeing to. These are kind of those non-negotiable. This is how we're going to act. So this would be the community, this would be the employees, the city staff, this would be your leaders, your mayor, your commissioners. And so again, these are drafts, but this is how we want to behave within the city. And they will be, when they are finalized, everyone's going to agree to them. And so we just kind of wanted to start and kick off by kind of sharing with you that vision statement and those core values and guiding principles that are really coming together quite nicely. Okay, and so again, I'll just talk a little bit through these very quickly, and then I believe I'm turning it over to Andrea after this. But just really quickly, again, from all of the data that we have collected along the way, and just on a side note, if you are looking for any of that data, you can go to Connect Tarpon, and all of those reports are on Connect Tarpon. So I encourage you, if you're interested in any of them, to please go there and download them and take a look. But so here's what, again, that has risen to the top. Again, cultural heritage preservation and natural resources. We heard a lot about this. Specifically looking at, again, the waterways, the green spaces, possibly even preparing for things such as sea level rise and flooding, right? So preserving all of those natural resources. Growth and development. We heard a lot about, again, respecting the city, but also being able to be innovative in future development. We heard a lot about maybe looking at revitalizing instead of doing new development. So that's kind of something we heard along the way, but this is obviously a big issue within the city. Again, visionary leadership. We heard a lot about making sure that there is a clear direction, that decisions, are strategic, that there is data that helps support those decisions, and more than anything, that there's also community input into those decisions. Infrastructure, again, this really goes to roads and traffic, making sure that there is a connection between the downtown and the sponge docks. How do you do that? Community engagement and involvement. Again, this is that, what are the mechanisms? What are the tools? How does the city engage with its citizens and make sure that there is a joint vision? And then lastly, quality of life. That's really one of the big topics that we heard why a lot of you as residents live, and I think we even had a comment in the chat. So from the coastal environment to the small town feel, just really the quality of life within the city is extremely valuable. So those are kind of the high level strategic theme areas. And so now I'm gonna turn it over to Andrea, and you guys are just going to hopefully dive into this and give us some great nuggets of information that we can then take back to the mayor and commission.
Thank you so much, Angela, for our rich partnership with USF and Collaborative Labs at St. Pete College. And thank you for kind of setting the stage for where we are today and how far we've come so far on this journey together. It's been a rich and very productive experience. And we know that today, for those of you who have given up a Saturday morning to pour yourself into the future of Tarpon Springs, we respect you and we're so grateful for your voice and for your vision this morning. So thank you, thank you. Today is exciting because we have what's called a hybrid event. We have many of you who are joining virtually through Zoom, and we can see your faces if you allow us to by turning on your cameras. That's so important to us to be able to feel as though we're in a room together. And then we also have those participants. I can see you. You're in the Tarpon Springs campus at St. Petersburg College, and that looks, oh, there you are, there you are. Soon enough, we will turn your volume on so we can hear you rip-roaring over there with the excitement about the future of your great city. And thank you all for coming. So we are, without further ado, going to set you up for your first mission, which is to go into 3 distinct virtual breakouts to envision what success looks like for Tarpon Springs by the end of 2030. So, 8 short years away. And we're going to have 2 virtual teams, and we're going to have 1 on-site team, and we see you all. So the recommended goals for each of those 6 different theme areas, and a goal, as we're describing it or defining it today, is an aspirational, measurable end result that we want to achieve, y'all, by 2030. So it's on the other side of the rainbow. It is the end game. It's not necessarily a tactic or a strategy that sometimes we would describe or a pathway over. It is it. It is the end result, what we have aspired to achieve and what we can measurably say we did it by 2030. So that's how we're defining a goal today. And so we're going to take two different rounds. As Angela said, the first round, we're focusing on culture, heritage, preservation, and natural resources. A second area, growth and development of Tarpon Springs. And then a third area, visionary leadership. And because of our focused time together, we want to make sure that as you go into your breakouts, you cover these topics in the order of your priority. So the first thing we will do is we'll ask each of you to raise your hand on which of these three is most important to you, so that we make sure we cover that first, and then the second area of priority second, and then the third area, if time allows, in that order, what is most important to you. So once we decide that, okay, now we're ready to start. And my team, you're going to be led by three breakout hosts. I have the privilege of leading Breakout Virtual Team 1. Karen Carlin will have the privilege of leading Breakout Team 2 virtually. And Karen is also capturing, by the way, play-by-play notes, the wisdom from the whole group today that will be available in Connect Tarpon as the real-time record from your productivity today. So stay tuned and look that up. And then Laurie Hill is going to be leading the breakout team at the Tarpon campus. And she's also our brand and business development officer. So she is going to help that team. And then finally, I didn't mention, but PJ Petrick is behind the scenes doing all the technology magic. So he will be deploying us into teams, bringing us back, and doing all those behind the scenes attributes that we have. So once you decide, okay, let's say that culture, heritage preservation, and natural resources was the top priority for your team to start out of the gate, you will get to see what we call starter goals that we have already layered into this topic area. And this is brought forward from the great work we've done to date. So you're not starting from a clean slate, you're starting from some rich priorities that have already come forward as starter goals. So you have these to work with, and then you will add more goals. This will just get the juices flowing. So we will add additional goals related to a topic. In this case, it's culture, heritage, preservation, natural resources. You'll start to see not only your team's goals up here, but you'll see perhaps other teams' goals flowing in, so you can build upon each other. And that's the cool thing about this software. Then we will say, okay, it's time to pick two, because we start to need to prioritize these great goals that we've been developing together. So each team will get to pick two, and you'll take them over to this bucket called the top goals bucket. So that is step one. Then step two is we take those two goals that we've prioritized, and we put them into this important matrix. So it's an impact matrix. You can see on the left-hand side, we've got the vertical axis, and that is impact. You can see low impact, number 1, all the way up to high impact, number 4. And I would envision the top 2 goals that each of these teams will elevate will hover around the high impact area. Otherwise, they wouldn't be, emerging as priority goals. Doability is the interesting part. Some goals may be very difficult, and that would be number 1 on our matrix, or they may be quite easy. And that's beautiful if they're really easy, because that means they'll get done probably quickly. And so you as a team will identify, where do our goals land on this matrix? Hopefully, as I mentioned, they'll be up in the high region of your impact area because they were elevated. But you can see the yellow goal, that would be one team, that's team 1. And this is cool because it's easy and high impact. So that's a beautiful place for this to land. However, maybe it is like goal one, the green goal over here, which would be a team 2 goal. It is very high in terms of impact, but it's very difficult to do. So it needs to land in this square. Or perhaps it's right in the middle in terms of doability, medium difficulty. So it would land in the middle part. So that's what we're going to do before we move into the second topic area. That's kind of our culminating activity there. So with that, I believe we are ready to deploy into teams. PJ, we'll have 3 teams. All you do if you're in a virtual team is you click join, and we will take you virtually to your team assignment. And we will meet back in about 45 minutes. Thanks, everybody. Click join. All right, are we all back, PJ?
Yep, looks like 2 seconds, and we're back.
Woo! All right, Karen, I'm sorry, were we rushing your brilliance in team 2? You can't rush.
So much conversation and so many ideas kept coming in. It was so hard to stop.
It's so true. We did too. So great work, everybody. What I'm going to do is share all 3 matrices as we speak, and our team 1 was a mighty team of 3, but boy, did we have some good stuff. And in fact, I think because we're all kind of moving around in the same territory, Laurie, no offense, I'm going to move your items just so my team, Joanne, who's our extraordinaire speaker, will be sharing Team 1's in yellow. So we're starting with Theme 1, Culture, Heritage Preservation, Natural Resources. All of us picked this one as one of ours. So Joanne, we're ready. Thank you.
Sure. Well, I'm going to start with the second one, the Identify Ecotourism Opportunities, Preserving Existing Park, Natural Resources, i.e. Purchase and Clothes 74 Ecosystem from Walmart Corp. Kayaking of those acres, basically, encouraging our elected officials to be talking to these private homeowners, private property owners about using these for a win-win for everybody instead of just letting them go the development way. And then the other, plan development and incorporate sustainability plan equitably, addressing heritage preservation, climate issues, sea level rise. And then we also threw in the resolve the Superfund property for the community's benefit by 2030, understanding that in 2025, it's going to be relooked at by EPA. And so we clumped several things in that together, but we really have the equity lens amongst everything we talked about. Just, we know there's a lot of preservation going on and we love our Greek heritage, but we also want to make sure that other heritages of the community get preserved as well. So threw that in there. Thank you.
Well said, Joanne. Thank you. I see why we picked you as our representative. Great job. All right, Karen, who is your spokesperson for Team 2?
Michael was graciously voluntold to be a volunteer spokesperson.
Michael.
And I appreciate following up that exquisite presentation by Joanne. Thank you, Joanne. Mine will be a whole lot shorter. We spoke about sea level rise and flooding. Definitely need grant opportunities. It's an expensive undertaking. We need government funding to support the infrastructure. It's not so much to stop hurricanes, but more so to slow down the high tides, the king tides that we get on MLK and by the sponge docks. So that would be really important to do. And it's only getting higher. So we also spoke about, I need to see the other one. I can't, if we can move that one over.
Do you have videos blocking it. If you can just move your videos perhaps. Or
Thank you.
you're welcome.
We also spoke about having a historic walking tour of downtown and having fixed maps that show where your items of historical interest lie. Right now we have loose maps and you see people walking around with them, but they're trying to identify where they are on the map.
Mhm.
So it would help to correspond the paper map with where they are in the town. You know, for the residents, it's very easy. We all know these streets backwards and forwards. Many times you walk around town and you see people just looking at the map and looking up. And so this is an idea because we are a tourist town, and I think that it's an inexpensive, easy fix to give more insight to what we are and who we are and
Okay.
historic sites.
Beautiful, Michael. Thanks for representing and being voluntold for Team 2.
Well, that was for showing up late.
Okay, see, that's what happens. Now, Laurie, I was moving your very important goals. Who is your spokesperson, and help me reposition them where they were? Laurie with our on-site Team 3. And PJ, if you can unmute and I can hear Laurie and hear your spokesperson.
So
We're not.
Can you hear us?
Yes, now we can hear you. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Our spokesperson is Jackie, but you won't be able to see her because she is at my computer so she can read it.
Okay.
So Jackie, go ahead.
Thanks. So we took a really overarching of that broad approach because that is the definition of goals. So first, the one that's in movement, it looks like now, we felt it was important to establish an identity for the entire community that maintains the heritage, our very unique culture and heritage, while serving our local citizens and supporting tourism. So it is that blend of the internal and the external audiences and focus. The original thing on there had talked about, can we increase the size of the goal sheets? Make sure someone saw that. We had talked about, originally there was a goal set from the previous sessions about branding, but we felt branding was not in a good representation when we're talking about culture and heritage, so we wanted to focus on identity. So as you can see with our local citizens, we need to have this internalized, which goes to our second point, which is providing opportunities to sustain, strengthen, and protect, three very important things: sustain, strengthen, and protect our local cultural traditions and heritage. So we have to do these things in order to also support the original goal of establishing that identity. So we felt that these really worked well together. We have also discussed, which is not part of this process, as we know, various strategies and tactics as action items to get us to achieving these goals. So thank y'all.
Great job. Thanks, Jackie.
Yes, great job. Thank you, teams. All right, so let us now move to the second area, and we'll see who decided to do growth and development. I know my team did, so I'm going to bring up area 2, and we'll ask Joanne again if you will please just quickly highlight our top goals. Ours are in yellow.
Sure. We both thought these both had high impact to equitably identify areas for revitalization over new development within the city, recognizing that there's a lot of places that properties that could be redeveloped, and just making sure that we're making sure all parts of the city are looked at. Focus on smart development for commercial and resident properties, i.e. walkability, multimodal transportation, mixed use housing for all. This is just also important, but again, don't have a lot to add on that, team, sorry. But I will note that all spokesmen spokespersons are from the Board of Adjustment, Tarpon Springs. Give a shout out to our Board of Adjustment allies.
Way to step it up. We appreciate you all. Thank you, Joanne. All right, Michael, are we coming back to you since you were voluntold?
I don't think I have a choice, but thank you. So we spoke about hotels and accommodations for visitors. It's been an ongoing situation for many, many years. It's not a new thing. There's no way you can, let me say this the way I know how to say this. You can't separate people from their money when they're not here to spend it in our town. So you need to have overnight stay for 2-3 days so they can fully see and enjoy what we enjoy on a yearly basis. So that's what, and do we have something else that we brought into growth and development, or is that the only thing?
I'll defer to Karen. Karen,
That was it for us. We ran out of time.
Okay.
Yes.
All that brilliance.
Yes.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you, Team 2. And then Laurie, we're coming back to you. Let me move my Team 1 goals so you can get to your important goal here.
Thanks so much. So yes, third member of the Board of Adjustments. And a lot of, we have the same spirit of what Joanne was presenting for Group 1. So we have one strong and mighty goal, which is to develop a comprehensive plan that manages growth and focuses on smart development and revitalization, like Group 1 said, and creating some incentives for commercial and residential properties. Wait, am I reading the wrong one?
That's right.
That's okay. Sorry. I also went crazy. So talking about things like, the walkability and the multimodal, we really wanted to focus on, and I feel like we have, no, this isn't ours.
Yeah,
it is. Yes, it
Yes, it is.
What were you thinking?
Because I was seeing it on the same thing for the yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
we
just-
just picked a similar.
we started both from this-
We
from
both
the-
started from the sampler.
Oh, that's right. What was the word we changed?
It's in, we changed revitalization and.
I'm so sorry. That's what I was on. I couldn't read the first go around. That was it. So we really put that focus, taking that first goal, it was one small but mighty change, a revitalization, the focus on let's make more of a priority of fixing the areas that already have some level of development or, disrepair before we start breaking ground on the very precious little bit of green space that we have. And we can do this through potentially offering some incentives to prioritize those over new development. So staying in that same spirit.
Woo-hoo, Group 3.
All right, way to go. Group 3, and yes, there was a lot of good synergy between our team and your team on that particular goal. So great job, Jackie. Thank you, Team 3. And I believe that only Team 1 addressed the third topic, or actually no, I see Team 3 also put one in there. So let me pull that up, and we will again invite Joanne to share for visionary leadership, our 2 goals. Thank you, Joanne.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Thank you. We had a lot of passion around this as well. But, really putting the onus on our elected leaders to figure out how all voices can get heard. And none of this just wait on talking to the same people, really haven't come up with a strategy, boots on the ground to get out there and hear from all citizens. We're missing many areas of the community. We need the youth voice front and center, marginalized communities, growing Hispanic voice. So we really want the elected leaders to figure this out. And then it's up to them too to just figure out, ensure that the resources and tools are necessary to carry out the strategic plan. We took out the part about just city staff because, city staff is one component of it, but we wanted to make it a little bit broader. So thank you, Group 1.
Thank you, Joanne. Great job. I appreciate it. All right, and Jackie, back in Team 3, please.
Thank you. So we squeaked out the 11th hour, our strong, mighty 1 goal. We felt that it was very important to have that collaboration to integrate all city leadership and community member voices into implementing the strategic plan. This is our guiding document So we're talking about our elected officials, our appointed boards, our very hardworking city staff, and our community members in general. As Joanna pointed out, we have a lot of various, groups within our community. I love that you pointed out the youth, Joanne, to make sure that the idea is to have the voices heard and integrated, because we're not all going to be great, but we need to be heard.
Very good job.
Great job.
Excellent. Great work, everybody. All right. Well, we have definitely earned a stretch break. It's time to take a quick stretch break. And let me ask PJ. PJ, are we randomized for brand new teams at this point?
Yes, we are all set for breakouts.
Okay, brand new teams for round 2.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So what we're going to do is PJ's going to deploy us to teams now. And then we will take a 10-minute break once we get to the teams, and we will see you all in about 10 minutes back at your team. So let me pull up our next mission just to refresh our memories as you're taking your nice 10-minute break. Here's what you can start dreaming about: infrastructure, community engagement and involvement, quality of life. If you had to pick one area to focus on, which would be the one that you would select? That's what your breakout host will ask you, so we can prioritize which comes first, second, third. All right, with that, PJ, deploy us, and we'll see you back in about 55 minutes, everybody. Thank you. PJ, taking us back in the day. Who was that? I forgot.
I think that was Toto.
Toto.
Well, Toto.
My goodness. Thank you for that. I had a slight flashback right there.
Good old yacht rock.
Great work, everybody. And what we'd like to do now is take a quick look at the first area, which is infrastructure. And I will invite, drum roll please, Michael is representing Team 1. And I'll just move Team 3's item out of the way just for a moment, Laurie. I'll bring it back up, I promise. So Michael, thank you for representing our team.
And which color are we now?
We are yellow.
Okay, so I am to speak about coordinating between Tarpon and the FDOT city to improve traffic patterns and transportation engineering. I believe that's the one.
Yes.
So that is the one we were speaking about. It's trying to move traffic. Some of the biggest problems we have in town is, especially around this time of year, and also we are a town that people go from Pasco through to the south. So we would have to try to time the lights better to move the traffic along, because there's only 2 main thoroughfares, which is Alt 19 and 19. And Alt 19 comes back and runs back into 19, and that just makes a bigger traffic mess. So that's one of the prioritizations. And the only way to help that is to widen 19.
And then how about our broken utilities?
Okay, so we spoke also about broken utilities, reclaimed water and sewage, determine the needed resources and take action for future growth and development. As we have more and more structures and building and people coming into this area, we have to make sure that the reclaimed water and sewage is to accommodate the influx of new people. We also spoke about possibly the differences of changing pipes in the city versus relining them, which probably would be cheaper, and also to handle the future growth, changing people from individual waste to getting them all on the sewer system. So that's all of the things that we thought were priority.
Very good, Michael. Thank you so much for representing Team 1. And it looks like Karen, who is your elected spokesperson?
Our elected spokesperson is, now I've forgotten, it was Patricia.
Patricia, thank you, Patricia.
Coordinate traffic initiatives better with all entities, state, county, city, whatever. And that kind of ties in with what the other people said. Nobody's talking to anybody else, so we want to make sure that that happens so we can fix the traffic and get everybody talking to each other. And plan and maintain dredging of waterways and canals. It's vitally important that we keep those canals and those waterways moving, not only for the boaters. I'm not a boater, I don't live on a canal, but because I think it's going to help. Water everywhere is going to be helped by that kind of a thing. You know, it's like we got to have clean water, we got to have it accessible to everybody. Fix sidewalks, have better signage, and put in crosswalks and better lighting. That's just all the way across the whole city. We just need, that helps everybody, not only the citizens, but also the visitors.
Beautiful. Thank you, Patricia. Thanks, Team 2. You guys had a bonus goal right there, and that's all good. And Laurie, I am respectfully moving your item back up where it was originally. A lot of energy around this area, so please, I think Peter is your appointed one, yes?
Hi there, can you hear me?
We can.
All right, well, our group came together with one powerful statement that we think encompasses everything regarding infrastructure: to create, implement a plan that improves, restores, and modernizes our roads, sewers, waterways, utilities, and other infrastructures while preserving historical characteristics. We are a unique city. Certain areas will be modernized, but certain areas do need to be improved through restoring and enhancing what it originally was. There are many issues in which we hear the most from the residents concerning our roads, our stormwater drainage, the water that they're receiving through their homes. It needs to be addressed. And if we're looking 8 years out, it's important as a group that we have the proper personnel in place to help address and plan all of what we want. So we came together as a group with this, and we do believe that it does encompass everything with infrastructure that the residents want. Thank you.
Outstanding, Peter. Thanks for representing your team, and I see you all there. Before you put them on mute, let's hear a rip roar from our on-site Tarpon team, please. Nice work, everybody. Okay. See, we can't do that in the virtual world. We missed that part. Oh, goodness. Okay, let us now move to the second area. I'm going to share my screen. Now we're going to talk about community engagement and involvement. And once again, we get to kick it off with Team 1, Michael. Let me move our goals such that we can see them, because we're all hovering around this area. I'll just move it right here so you can read it for us, please.
So we have expanding the partners coalition to increase connection to and relationships with nonprofits and social services agencies, transportation for elderly and mental health. So I believe that we were speaking about just to get people involved and expanding the connection. Yeah, I'm not following this one at all, believe it or not, here. Okay, thank you. We have elected officials need to restore free speech at the BOC meetings and get everyone's voice, and responsible to create communications with all citizens and underrepresented groups, which is what we have here. Improve communication between the city employees, leaders, and residents and advisory councils, youth voice, marginalized communities, Hispanic, etc. We right now have Connect Tarpon, and what we spoke about was having not as many people here as we would have liked to have. So there was also discussion about possibly not having it on a Saturday, but having it maybe in an evening when people are more free. But we should have more input from more of the different groups to have more diversity in this decision-making that's going on here.
Great, Michael. Thank you so much. And I'll now invite Team 2. I think it's Patricia again, Karen.
Correct. Allow for public discourse input in a town hall format that includes commissioners on a regular basis, not just the commissioner meetings, but a town hall, just so that we can actually have public input. Better use of social media and city website to find information easier. For example, link to connect Tarpon and reach citizens through avenues other than electronically. For example, as a printed public bulletin. Again, it's all about communication, either electronically or not electronically. And that's hard to do. So.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Patricia. We're coming back your way, on-site Tarpon team, and Peter, thank you again.
Thank you. Our first one is to strengthen and expand the community coalitions to increase connections to and relationships with nonprofits, social services agencies, government, for-profit, and residents. And what we need to do is be able to, as a city, communicate well with these organizations. That way we're all on the same page when it comes to all the social services we should provide. And it's not just the homeless or the houseless, it's also our youth, it's also our senior citizens, it's also those who are struggling with any mental illnesses they may have. So it's all has to come together, and it's got a high impact, and it's not going to be easy. Through communication and hard work with working with one another and being consistent is what's going to help reach our goals with this. The second one is develop and implement a robust, comprehensive communications plan for resident input, outreach, and two-way feedback. We do have the Connect website, which is great, but we also have our community pages on our social media sites where we can reach out and get a lot of people involved. The residents have short attention spans, but they want to give their input. So we want to be able to listen to what they have to say and let them go about their everyday lives pretty frequently. And we also have other different ways where it comes to QR codes and mailers to reach out to those citizens who don't use social media, who don't have any other avenues besides the paper or what they receive in the mail too. So it's got to be a collective way of us as a city to work with all the different people and how we can reach them with issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Team 3. And I'm seeing such alignment as with all of the topics between the teams. So this is always good to see great alignment as we move these goals forward for consideration. All right, our very last area for today is quality of life. And I will once again ask Michael from Team 1 if you could kick us off. Thank you, Michael.
Yes, thank you. So a quality of life ensures safety and security for all residents. And that was the umbrella that fit everything that we spoke about. Because if you don't have the safety and security, which we have a great police force, then nothing else in it is useful. So we spoke about equitable division of resources, sufficient housing for all income groups, while supporting green spaces. We touch base with trees, we touch base with different size homes, we touch base with different size properties and what's being built and what really needs to be built to save green spaces. But it all falls under having a great quality of life with safety and security. The second thing was we spoke about issues between connecting the sponge docks to the downtown area because parking was a big issue. So we either discussed something about double-decker parking and timing the lights to move traffic from through Tarpon so that we don't have as much backups. We also did some touching base on possibly putting in a trolley on Safford or a monorail system, which is more expensive, a little more difficult, but it would be unmanned. It would move back and forth to create unison between the Dodecanese, the Sponge Docks, and our downtown for residents and for visitors. Or possibly the inexpensive way is to go with electric bikes or scooters like they do in Tampa in some locations. So that's what we spoke about.
Thanks again, Michael, for representing Team 1 so well. And now we'll move to Team 2 and Patricia. Thank you.
Okay, more general transportation services available for citizens, not just apps, but recreation, shopping, and tourists. So, you know, we need to be able to move around, mostly the citizens. Encourage affordable, sustainable housing. That's for everybody. Affordable, sustainable. And Tarpon is actually doing a really good job with affordable, with some of the little things that they've been building. They're also nice looking, well kept. I'm not afraid to drive down the street. So we're kind of doing it. Let's do more.
Woohoo, I felt that one, Patricia. Thank you. Let's do more. All right, thanks, Team 2. And Team 3, Patrick, we're coming your way. I'll just move this so you can read it. Oh, Peter, sorry.
No problem.
Yeah.
Okay. Support and expand public safety and social services to address community needs and improve the quality of life. So we are a full self-service city, and we have to support our first responders, all these organizations who reach out to mental health and social service to make sure that we can improve the lives of everybody. Because quality of life is not for just us, but for the future. And we have to make sure it's the same, if not better, quality of life to take care of our residents with this forward-thinking strategic plan. The second one is, if you could just move.
I'm happy to. There you go.
Sustain, strengthen, protect, and utilize our natural resources to ensure higher quality of life. Our river is our natural resource. That is part of our identity. We have the most shoreline in town, and we have to respect when it comes to building in the future, coastline, sustainability, that we are addressing things on a 100-year floodplain, that we are addressing, potential sea level rise, and to ensure the quality of life. Because if we're not addressing our infrastructure in the future to help take care of all this, we won't have a quality of life for future generations. So it's important that our natural resources, our river, and all our bayous are taken care of as well. Thank you.
Outstanding, Peter. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone for your excellent work as we move forward our recommendations for consideration for goals in each of the 6 areas. Well, you've done a fantastic job, and we're right on time. And in fact, Angela, what do you think about this great productivity today?
Yeah, I'm excited. I think we have some great information and some good feedback to take back to the leaders. And so just to let you know, we will be wrapping up phase 1 of this process. And I like to think of phase 1 as really the data collection period. And so that's really what we've been doing probably the past 6 months. And so we will be presenting on March 3rd. There will be a city commission workshop from 6:30 to 8. And so we will be going through all of the data with them in terms of the resident survey, the employee survey, all of these forums that you've participated in. And once we do that, then the next step will be to, there is an election, I'm sure you guys are aware. And so the next step will be to provide, I guess, an onboarding process for the newly elected officials. And so we will do that once the election has occurred, bring them up to speed with all of this data. And then we will go into where I like to say, it's really where the meat happens, right? It's really where the substance is. And that's where we begin to really articulate even more so the goals, objectives, and action items throughout the whole process. So we're really in a good place. We appreciate your participation. I'm happy to answer any questions. I believe, if you're interested, please attend March 3rd. Again, all documents are located on Connect Tarpon under the strategic plan. And I think that's it. There was some just great information today. So very pleased with what we were able to get out of today.
Absolutely. Well done, everybody. Tarpon, you want to unmute Tarpon so we can hear them give a final hurrah? They're there. We're capturing a moment in history right here as we envision the future success. So grateful for all of you. Thank you so much, everybody.
Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
They wonder why I'm such a baby.